Hi everyone, and welcome to The Sleepy Scientist. I'm really happy you're here. Tonight, we're going to go on a calm and quiet trip to learn something amazing. So get comfy, take a deep breath, and let's enjoy this peaceful science story together. Before we start, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it for you right now? If you like relaxing science videos, don't forget to tap the like button. Now let's begin.
You are standing under a quiet sky, and the stars above you feel like tiny windows, each one opening into a room where the past still hums like a soft song. The air is cool, your breath slow, and the night seems to gather itself around you like a blanket. If you listen, not with your ears, but with the gentle attention inside your chest, you can sense it. The way light carries old moments forward, the way yesterday chooses not to vanish but to travel. Light moves fast, much faster than any bird or plane, faster than the wind that brushes the trees. It moves so quickly that your eyes cannot notice its first step. Yet even at this amazing speed, it still takes time to arrive. From the sun to your face, light needs about 8 minutes to cross the quiet space in between. That means the sunlight warming your cheeks began its journey before you blinked, before you thought of anything at all today. It left the sun when you were still in a different small moment. Light does not jump. It travels, and in that gentle travel, it carries the past with it, like a letter passing from hand to hand. Think of the moon. It looks close, like a neighbor leaning over a fence to smile. But the light from the moon takes a little more than a second to arrive. A single second is small, yet it is still a bit of time, a tiny ripple. When you whisper a wish to the moon's light touching your skin began its soft path a heartbeat ago. With the stars, the path grows longer. Some of the stars that shine in your eyes tonight sent their light when great-great-grandparents were very young, or before they were born, or before your town had a name. When you look up, you are not only looking out, you are looking back. This is why astronomers sometimes say the sky is a time machine. They do not mean a noisy box with flashing lights. They mean that light preserves what once was, and because it needs time to move, it puts distance between a moment and our eyes. The farther away a star is, the older its light becomes by the time it reaches us. Light is honest. It does not tell a different story than the one it carries. It keeps the shape of what it touched, the surface of a star, the glow of a galaxy, and shows us that shape long after the star or galaxy made it. Everywhere you go in the day, you see light bouncing, bending, and spreading. It touches a leaf, and the leaf keeps some of it and sends the rest away as green, which is the color you see. It brushes a puddle and glitters. It slides across a window and becomes a square of brightness on the floor. Each bounce is a tiny decision, a yes or a no, a turn to the left or to the right. And each bounce takes time, even if only the smallest drop of time. A smile that you gave someone at noon did not vanish. It flew on the light that peeled away from your face, sped into the room, and kept going. It may be in the air of the street by now, or the branches above the street, or it may already be higher, passing through a soft slice of the sky that has never heard your name. Some scientists like to say that information is bound to light and to other waves that move. They mean that light does not just glow, it describes, it tells the world what it has touched. When light brushes your face, it learns your shape and color. A tiny piece of that knowledge rides onward. Most of it scatters and fades, but fade does not mean gone. Fade means thinner, weaker, quieter, like a lullaby drifting down a hallway. Even a quiet song is still a song. Somewhere far from this place, much of what you have done in front of light is still traveling, becoming softer with distance but not erased. If this sounds like magic, it is a gentle, everyday kind of magic, the kind any person can hold by simply looking around. The walls of a room, the surface of a desk, the curve of a cup, all of these send light away in all directions. Each tiny grain of color on the cup is like a voice that speaks only a little, and together they sing the cup into the air so your eyes can meet it. At night, the city sends its own voices up through the atmosphere. From far above, the city looks like a field of sparks. Even from far away in space, a camera can see it, because the light we pour out keeps going, like a river deciding endlessly to move. Think too about radio waves and the other kinds of gentle ripples that science calls electromagnetic. Some are light you can see. Others are light your eyes were not made to notice, but your radios and phones can sense them. Long ago, people sent the first radio hellos from the planet, simple dots and dashes. Those small greetings did not stop at the edge of the town or even the edge of the atmosphere. They went outward just like starlight does, riding the same rules, spreading thinner and thinner, but still real, still present. If someone were far enough from here and patient enough with a kind and careful ear, they might detect a whisper of our very old hellos, still moving through the dark like golden dust. The universe is big, wider than we can fit into a single thought. In that wide space, time and distance dance together. The same gentle law that keeps your feet on the ground, gravity, also bends the paths of light. Great galaxies pull at the glow that passes near them, curving it so that a single distant galaxy can look like more than one, or like a ring, as if you were looking through a raindrop that makes the world ripple. When astronomers see these rings and arcs, they are looking at the past in many layers at once, the same object copied by gravity's spoon, each copy from a slightly different time. They read these strange shapes the way a poet reads a line, slowly, letting the meaning bloom. There is also a very old light that fills everything around us, even the spaces between your fingers. This light is so soft that you cannot feel it on your skin or see it with your eyes. It comes from when the universe was only a baby, when everything was hot and bright and close together. Now it is cooled and stretched, like a sweater that has grown gentle with wear. Scientists call it a background, like the hum in a seashell. It is there when you wake and when you sleep. It is there in the empty space of a classroom after everyone has gone home. It is there above the ocean and in the attic of an old house. It is a kind of memory that belongs to the universe itself. When we measure it, we are measuring the first light that got free to travel, the first whisper that had enough space to become a song. When you step indoors and turn on a lamp, you add to the dance. The bulb glows and little strings of light run across the room and into the hall. Some of them go out the window. Some of them sink into the rug and become warmth. Some of them find your eyes and tell them, here is a book, here is the curve of a hand, here is a smile. The light that passes by you keeps going. It will touch a far wall, and then the air, and then the wide night, and then a calm region of space where there is nothing at all for a long time. But nothing does not mean never. Even miles and miles of emptiness are simply a place the light is moving through. Now imagine that you are holding a small mirror. A mirror is a kind of promise. It agrees to return much of the light that visits it. When your face leans close, the mirror sends a carefully folded version of your face back to your eyes, but not all of the light returns home. Some little pieces slip away at the edges or pass through the glass or bounce in a direction your eyes are not waiting for. Those pieces leave the mirror and go on a journey. They will tell any wall, any leaf, any bit of air they meet that you were here, that you stood before a quiet silver field and watched yourself watching. The story will thin with each mile. It will become a whisper, then a hush, but it will not be nothing. It will be the kind of almost silence we still call sound, the kind of almost dark we still call light. At sunset, the sky becomes a teacher. The colors stretch and soften because the sun is lower and the light must walk through more air to reach you. Blue light, which is quicker to bounce, scatters away first, and your eyes are left with gentle red and orange and pink. The long path through the air pulls the day into a painting. Even that painting is a message about time and distance. It says, the light traveled farther this evening, and on that longer path it changed its voice. We often think that the past is behind us, a door that closed as soon as we walked through. But look at the shadow your hand makes on the wall. That shadow is made of light being kept away, yes, but it is also made of light taking a different road. The edges of the shadow blur because light is not a single straight pencil mark. It is a small ocean of tiny waves piling up and pulling apart. Your hand's shape is recorded in all the directions where the light could have gone but did not. The wall is quietly collecting those directions, painting them in brightness and darkness. Then the wall sends out more light, now carrying your hand's story. It leaves the room. It enters the night. The night accepts it, the way a river accepts rain. Some people wonder whether everything that has happened in the open, under starlight or sun, might still be out there as a very thin film of truth painted across space. The truth grows faint with distance, yes. It becomes mixed with other truths. It is bent and turned by gravity and absorbed by dust and caught by atoms that take its energy and become a little warmer. But a great deal flows on. This is not a promise that we can collect it all again. It is more a kindness, a way of thinking that brings peace. What you have done, what you have loved, the way you looked at a friend or a tree, did not fall to the ground and vanish. It joined the long traveling. Let's drift deeper and consider the way your own eyes work, because they are quiet scientists, always me. Stirring light, the front of your eye bends the incoming glow so that it makes a tiny painting on the back of your eye. In that small painting are the old stars, the nearby moon, the lamp, the leaf, the cup, the soft square of sunlight on the floor. Your brain reads the painting and writes a story from it, and that story becomes your present moment. Inside you there is a gentle rhythm. Light arrives, a story forms, then the next light arrives and the story forms again. Even here in the space between seeing and knowing, time is traveling. The past few slices of a second are still alive inside you as a warm memory, like a small ember you carry forward. Sometimes, late at night, you may feel that time is a river and you are a leaf floating on it. The water carries you around a bend and you can never float back to that exact place. Yet the water you pass does not stop moving. It slips on to become part of the next bend and the next. Light is the river's surface, showing what the banks looked like a little while ago. When we look across a wide river, a tree on the far side is reflected with a slight delay, because the ripples need time to carry the picture across. The universe is like this too. It reflects itself in light, and the reflection's delay is our view into what once was. There are places in space where the light is trapped for a very long time, like a moth that cannot find the open window. In the hearts of stars, light is born in the tightest rooms, and the path out is twisty and slow. The light bumps into particles, gives a little energy, takes a little back, changes direction again and again. It can take thousands of years, more, for a ray made in a star's core to finally reach the surface and become free to travel. When that light at last escapes, it sprints across space and may, after long years, find your eye. You could say that starlight is patient, that it believes in arrival, even if arrival takes longer than any story you have told. The earth also holds and releases light in its own way. Sunlight warms the ground, and long after the sun has stepped below the horizon, the earth gives the warmth back slowly, as if speaking quietly after listening all day. That gentle warmth is also a kind of light, with waves too long for your eyes, but not too long for your skin to feel. Even your warm hands, resting on your lap as you read or listen, are giving off a soft glow your eyes cannot see. The room is full of these soft gifts, crossing and mixing and passing by one another without collision, like polite guests at a peaceful gathering. When you think about all this, light leaving, light arriving, light bending, light remembering, you may feel very small. But small is not the same as unimportant. A small bell can ring a lovely sound. A small seed can become a forest. A small candle can make a dark room gentle. Your life is like this. It sends out waves not only in light, but in the way you speak, the way you touch, the way you help, the way you let yourself be quiet. These waves move in people and return to you in different shapes, sometimes years later. This, too, is a kind of traveling past. If you close your eyes now, the darkness behind them is not empty. It is full of the last things you saw, still echoing lightly, and full of the tiny currents of your thoughts, which are made by small signals flowing along the paths of your brain. Those signals are not light, but they follow similar rules. They travel, they need time, they can be strong or soft, they can choose many paths. Your inner world and the outer world both honor the same gentle truth. Movement takes time, and because of that, your past is never cut away. It drifts forward, like a feather traveling on a vast wind. And so under the night sky, with the stars offering their patient stories, you can rest in this soft certainty. What you have been is still moving. What you love is not lost. The moments you thought were gone are only far away, bringing their light to places you have not yet imagined. If you ever feel that the door of yesterday closed too quickly, look up. The door has a window, and the window looks out on a road. Light is walking there, carrying your past in its gentle hands. You can almost see it. You can almost feel it, brushing your cheek like a blessing as it passes by on its way. Now imagine the way the Earth itself turns beneath this river of light. Each spin of our planet is a reminder that we live inside cycles, loops, and returns. Morning becomes night, and night becomes morning again. Yet the light that reaches you is always a little older than the moment you stand in. The morning sun is already a memory in motion, a flame that leapt from its home before you stretched your arms, before the birds began their chorus. Even as the sun climbs higher, the photons that kiss your hands are carrying 8 minutes of history. The past is woven into every beam. When you gaze at the stars, the time carried in their light grows longer, older, deeper. Some of the stars are neighbors, their light only a few years old. Others are so far away that their glow began before your ancestors painted caves, before rivers carved valleys, before the mountains you know had risen. And some stars, so distant that their names are only numbers, may no longer exist at all. Yet their light is still traveling, a faithful messenger delivering a story long after the storyteller has gone. When you see those stars, you are sharing a moment with something that is both gone and still here, like a song still playing after the musician has set down the instrument. This is the poetry of astronomy. To look outward is also to look backward. Telescopes are not just lenses of glass and mirrors of silver. They are time travelers gathering echoes of light that began their journeys when the Earth was young. When scientists study galaxies billions of light years away, they are studying the universe as it was when galaxies were still new. In the vast quiet of space, time is stretched, folded, and kept alive. You could say that the universe is its own diary, each page carried by beams of light still drifting, waiting for eyes to open them. The background light of the universe, the soft glow left over from when everything began, is perhaps the most tender reminder that nothing is ever truly lost. It was once fire, unbearable and blinding when space itself was small and dense. But as the universe expanded, the light softened. It stretched into waves too gentle for eyes to see, humming like a lullaby too low for ears to hear. Yet it remains, filling every corner of space. Scientists call it the cosmic microwave background, but you might think of it as the universe's first memory, still alive in the air between your hands. Even silence is not empty. It carries a history older than stars, older than galaxies, older than the patterns of time that we know. Consider, too, the way light bends. Gravity, that quiet pull that holds oceans in their bowls and keeps you standing on the ground, also touches light. When a beam passes near something massive, it leans like a branch bent by the wind. Whole galaxies can act like lenses, bending the light from other galaxies behind them. This bending does not erase the light. It folds it, splits it, duplicates it. In this way, gravity becomes a brush, painting the past in strange arcs and rings. Astronomers read these curves the way one might read the ripples on a pond, each ripple a story about something that moved long ago. Even your own eyes hold time in a small way. When light enters, it must travel across the liquid through the lens onto the waiting surface of the retina. Their cells absorb it and change it into tiny signals that run along nerves into your brain. Each step, though small, requires a moment. By the time you become aware of what you are seeing, the scene outside has already moved forward, even if only by a blink. Your vision is always of the past, never the present. The present itself is too quick, too slippery. You know the world as it was a fraction of a second ago, and yet that is enough. Life is lived in the gentle delay, the way an echo fills a canyon. If you trace this truth deeper into the way memory works, you find that your mind is a keeper of light as well. Every memory you hold is not the moment itself, but a record of it carried forward, changed by time, softened or sharpened. Your brain replays these signals like light revisiting a room. Sometimes the memory is clear, a bright beam with sharp edges. Other times it is hazy, like twilight fading. But even then, the past is not gone. It lives in you, a private echo of the larger echo the universe carries. And what of the signals we have sent, not by accident but by choice? Our radios, our television shows, our greetings sent into space on golden records, they are all traveling outward, joining the light of the stars. Somewhere in the dark, waves of our voices are still moving, our laughter, our music, our stories. They grow fainter with distance, tangled with noise, yet they remain. If another listener exists, and if their ear is delicate enough, they might hear us, not as we are, but as we were. The past still alive, drifting between galaxies. To think this way is to soften the idea of loss. What you say, what you feel, what you love does not vanish the instant it is done. It leaves traces, ripples, beams. It joins the great migration of energy that never ceases, only changes shape. The warmth of a fire lingers in the stones after the flame has gone. The light of a star lingers in your eyes long after the star itself may have faded. Your own warmth lingers in the chair when you rise, a signature that the air remembers for a little while. Life is a chain of these signatures, each one fading slowly but never quite gone. The air too holds memory. Every sound you make travels as a wave of moving air. It may seem to vanish, but it only spreads. Out thinning into silence. Silence is not nothing. It is the place where sound has stretched too far to notice. The same is true of light. Somewhere far from here, your face has already passed by on beams that have no reason to stop. If we could gather every photon scattered by the Earth, we could build a ghostly picture of all that has been. The physics makes it nearly impossible, yet the imagination makes it beautiful, a universe painted over and over by the lives within it. Even shadows are a kind of time. When you move your hand across a wall, the shadow flows behind it, delayed by the light that cannot pass through you. The edge of that shadow is soft because light does not draw sharp lines, it paints with waves. Every shadow you have ever made has been a signature in light, sent outward, carried into the night. The world is filled with these signatures, millions of them crossing, scattering, joining. Together they make a silent history book, written not in ink but in radiance. This is why some philosophers and scientists speak of time not as a river that carries us away but as a landscape, always there, with different parts lit at different moments. We move through it, but it does not disappear behind us. The past still exists in the light, in the waves, in the quiet laws that never stop working. The present is simply the place where our eyes are open, where we stand in the glow of arriving beams. And the future is already forming in the stars, their light not yet here, but on its way. Think of the tree outside your window. Each morning it greets the sun, each evening it waves in the wind. The light bouncing off its leaves this instant carries the image of its branches, its colors, its shape. That light will continue long after you have turned away. It will touch a wall, then pass beyond the window, then rise into the sky, perhaps to be scattered by a cloud, perhaps to escape into the stars. That tree's moment is now part of the universe, a brushstroke in the endless painting of time. In this way, nothing is truly alone. Every beam of light, every wave of sound, every ripple of warmth connects one moment to another, one place to another. The universe is not a silent void, but a memory in motion, a library without shelves where every page is drifting outward. You are both reader and writer, both witness and participant. The story of your life is stitched into this library with light, carried along with the same patience that carries the glow of stars. And so when you look at the night sky again, let yourself feel the quiet weight of it. Each star is not only a star, it is also a letter from the past, sent across years or centuries or eons, finally delivered to your eyes. You are holding the envelope, unfolding it, letting the glow speak. The universe is not rushing, it is not urgent. It is content to let its past wander gently forward, to let you touch it, to let you know that nothing has been lost, only carried. Let us return once more to the idea that your past is still moving, that it never falls away into nothing. Every smile, every glance, every spoken word has sent a small wave outward. The light reflected from your face, the warmth released from your hands, the sound drifting from your breath, all of these are traces that continue on. The universe is vast enough to hold them. Space is not only emptiness, it is a great harbor carrying the footprints of time across its endless shores. When you think about your life, you may imagine it as a string of moments, each one cut off from the next. But light shows us that the past does not vanish when the moment is done. It flows outward, like ripples on water after a pebble falls. The water does not stop moving simply because you look away. In the same way, the universe does not stop carrying what has already happened. The echoes of your days are written into the glow that escapes into the night sky, into the waves of sound that spread through the air, into the warmth that lingers long after you have moved on. The earth itself remembers Rocks bear the imprints of ancient seashells. Trees hold the record of seasons in the circles of their wood. Ice sheets keep bubbles of air that whisper what the sky once was. The ground beneath your feet is a library of moments stacked in layers, each one preserving what came before. When light strikes these surfaces, it learns from them, carries their story forward, adds another chapter. A beam touching a stone is more than brightness. It is a message that says, here is a shape that has endured, here is a past that is still alive. Scientists tell us that energy cannot be destroyed. It only changes form, passing from one kind of movement into another, from heat to light, from motion to sound. In this way, the universe is a perfect keeper of memory. Every flame becomes warmth, every warmth becomes air rising, every rise becomes a pattern in the wind. Nothing is lost, not truly. Even the quiet in your room is. Filled with the faded remains of countless motions, too soft for your senses but still present, woven into the background of existence. The stars above are proof of this endless keeping. Some of them may already have gone dark, their fires finished, their cores collapsed. But the beams they once released are still traveling, still arriving at your eyes tonight. You see them not as they are, but as they were, and in this way, the night sky is a collection of memories suspended in space. It is as though the universe has painted its own canvas, not with brushes and colors, but with the patient strokes of time itself. To look upward is to see a painting that was made long ago, but is still drying on the air around you. In your own body, the same rule holds. The atoms that form your bones and blood were once the dust of stars, forged in the fierce heat of explosions millions of years before you were born. Those explosions ended, but their energy lived on, shaping new worlds, new oceans, new lives. You are not only a person standing in the present, you are also the continuation of events so old that no memory can hold them, carried into this moment by the patient river of matter and light. Every breath you take is a reunion with the past, every heartbeat a rhythm that once belonged to stars. Time feels fleeting because we notice only the moment we stand in. But light reminds us that each moment is given to the universe, carried forward, stored in beams and ripples. Think of laughter shared with a friend. To you it may feel gone, but the sound traveled outward, bouncing off walls, sliding into air, joining the quiet music of the world. Think of a tear falling in sadness. Its shimmer was caught in the light, which carried the image outward, a soft spark drifting into the night. Every moment has its own echo. Every past is still unfolding. There is comfort in this thought. When you feel that something precious has ended, remember that the universe has kept it. The glow of that time, the warmth of that presence, the trace of that voice, they are not erased. They are part of the fabric of space now, moving gently outward, a trail of brightness too thin to gather but too real to deny. Love does not vanish. Kindness does not vanish. Even sorrow becomes part of the great song, carried forward as softly as a feather drifting on air. Imagine yourself walking through a meadow at dusk. The sun is setting, and the light that touches your skin has already traveled across space, carrying with it the story of a star 8 minutes behind the present. The shadows of the grass lengthen, and each shadow is a sketch drawn by light, a memory that will move on after you leave. The crickets begin their song, and each vibration in the air becomes a tiny traveler. You are surrounded by messengers of the past, all of them moving forward, all of them keeping the record of what has been. You are not walking alone, you are walking with time. Even the night itself is a keeper of memory. Its darkness is filled with light too faint for your eyes to see, with waves too long or too short for your ears to notice. But they are there, woven into the silence. Astronomers build instruments not to invent these stories, but to listen to them more carefully, to gather the whispers that were always present. Every discovery of a distant galaxy, every glimpse of a star being born, is simply a recognition that the universe has been writing all along, waiting patiently for eyes to read. You too are part of this writing. Each step you take leaves warmth on the ground. Each breath you give leaves ripples in the air. Each moment you live leaves traces in the great unfolding of time. You may never see them again, but the universe carries them without complaint. You are both a reader of light and a sender of it, both an observer and a participant in the eternal exchange of memory. To live is to leave behind echoes that will drift long after you have moved forward. And so the past is not gone. It is not a door slammed shut, not a candle extinguished. It is a traveler, patient and tireless, always moving, always carrying. It flows outward in beams and waves, in warmth and echoes, in atoms and stars. It lingers in the glow of galaxies and in the quiet of your own breath. To know this is to rest more gently in the present. For the present, too, will become a traveler, and the universe will carry it, and you will be part of the endless river that never ends. The story of light, the story of time, is also the story of you. You are a ripple in the fabric, a song in the silence, a moment in the great unfolding. And though the moment feels brief, it will never be erased. Somewhere far away, your light is still traveling, carrying the memory of your smile, the warmth of your presence, the truth that you were here, alive under the stars. The universe will remember. It always remembers. Shadows are soft reminders that light has met an obstacle, that time itself has passed. Used in shape before moving on. When your hand rises into the sunlight and rests in the air, a shadow blooms behind it. The shadow is not nothing. It is the story of light being asked to wait, to bend, to take another road. Every shadow you cast is also a mark of time, for it changes with the hour, with the tilt of the earth, with the patient journey of the sun across the sky. To follow a shadow is to follow time as it glides along the ground, stretching and shrinking like a breath that never ends. Think of ancient people watching the ground beneath their feet. They noticed the way shadows moved, how they grew tall in the morning, how they curled beneath their bodies at noon, how they stretched long and graceful in the evening. These movements were not random. They were the steady dance of earth turning before the sun. Without clocks, without machines, shadows became the first keepers of time. A stone placed in the soil became more than a stone. It became a sundial, a patient finger pointing to the hours. The earth itself was the clock, and the shadow was its gentle hand, sweeping across the day in silence. The sun is not the only painter of shadows. The moon, too, casts her pale outlines upon the ground. On nights when she is full and bright, trees and walls and bodies all find themselves doubled in soft silver. Even the stars, far though they are, leave faint shadows if the night is quiet enough and the eye is careful. Shadows are everywhere more plentiful than light itself, for they grow from every shape that interrupts the glow. Each one is a record of a moment, a fleeting sketch drawn by the meeting of brightness and form. They are the silhouettes of time's passing. In your memory, too, there are shadows, not shadows of darkness, but shadows of what has been. Every event leaves a trace, a soft outline that remains after the brightness of the moment has gone. The sound of laughter may fade, but the memory of it lingers like a shadow within the heart. The warmth of an embrace may end, yet the echo of it stays. These are shadows of time, carried not on walls, but in the spaces of your thoughts. They remind you that even when moments slip away, their shape remains. Science sees shadows in larger places as well. The earth itself makes a shadow as it moves around the sun. During an eclipse, the earth and moon align, and one body's shadow falls upon another. When the moon covers the sun, a shadow sweeps across the earth, and people stand beneath a sudden twilight in the middle of the day. When the earth's shadow covers the moon, the lunar surface glows with red, painted by sunlight bending through our sky. These are shadows written on a planetary scale, reminders that even worlds keep time with their darkness. Beyond our planet, shadows stretch across the solar system. Each planet carries its own shadow behind it, a long, dark cone stretching millions of miles into space. These shadows are invisible to our eyes, yet they are real, sweeping endlessly, tracing orbits like secret lines on a map. A spacecraft passing through may feel the temperature drop, for in shadow there is no sunlight, no warmth. In these cosmic shadows, time becomes colder, quieter, slower. They are as much a part of the universe as the light that surrounds them. The very structure of the universe carries shadows of the past. When light passes around galaxies, when it bends through clusters of stars, it sometimes leaves behind shapes, echoes, duplicates. Astronomers call this lensing, but it is also a kind of shadow, one image copied, delayed, reshaped by gravity. In the vast sky, some galaxies appear more than once, separated by the bending of light. Each image is the same galaxy but seen at a slightly different time. They are shadows of themselves, stretched across space, showing how gravity and time weave their patterns. In the smallest places, shadows appear too. Inside your body, light from a microscope can reveal the outline of cells, each one casting its tiny shape into view. A leaf under a lens is filled with miniature shadows, where light cannot pass through the veins, where chlorophyll drinks in the glow. These microscopic shadows are as real as the tall shapes of mountains at sunset. They remind us that shadow is not the absence of life, but the map of it, the places where light has chosen another way. We sometimes think of shadows as lesser, as emptiness, as the places we cannot see. Yet shadows are teachers. They reveal shape, depth, contour. Without shadows, the world would appear flat, washed in brightness without form. Shadows give the world its texture, the way valleys hold coolness, the way mountains wear their slopes. Shadows are companions of light, and together they weave the full picture of reality. Time is the same. Without the memory of what has been, without the shadows that linger, the present would have no depth. It would be a surface without story. The human heart often carries its own shadows, and these are not always heavy. A memory of joy, though softened, is still a comfort. A memory of sorrow, though quiet, is still a guide. Shadows in the heart are not punishments. They are the proof that life has touched us. Just as the sun must rise to make a shadow, so too must we have lived and loved to carry these traces. To walk with your shadows is to walk with your history, to walk with the time that made you. And so shadows are not enemies of light, but its companions, the gentle signatures of its journey. They remind us that time is not erased, but recorded in forms and outlines, in memories and echoes. To look at your shadow is to see both the present moment and the invisible past carried in its shape. To watch it stretch and shrink is to witness time moving with you, patiently, faithfully, always close, always real. Shadows follow us more faithfully than any companion, and yet they speak without words. They are not only on the ground, stretching along the pavement or bending across the grass. They live inside reflections, inside corners, inside the layers of clouds. When you walk in the glow of a street lamp, your shadow leaps long behind you, stretching toward places you cannot reach. It is a constant reminder that light always tells a story, and shadows are its punctuation marks. Time itself is written in these shapes, and if you look closely, you can see how the hours sculpt the world through the bending of shadow. Ancient builders knew this well. In temples and towers, they carved lines and angles that matched the sun's shadows at certain times of year. When light poured in at just the right angle, a shadow would fall across a mark, announcing the solstice or the equinox. These patterns were not accidents. They were calendars written in stone, agreements between human hands and the turning sky. The pyramids, the Stonehenge circles, the great pillars of old civilizations, each one caught the shadow and held it, making time visible in a language anyone could read. To live with shadows was to live in step with the cosmos, to listen to the conversation between earth and sun. Even today, shadows keep us connected to time's flow. A tree by the window grows its own silent clock on the wall, casting shapes that stretch and fade as the day passes. Children can chase these shapes, measuring their own growth against the reaching arms of branches. Farmers still know the quiet rhythm of light and shadow, for crops lean toward brightness and animals seek shelter in shade. To live close to the land is to live close to shadow, to understand its patience and its guidance. But shadows are not only markers of hours, they are also protectors. Beneath a tree, in the coolness of shade, you find relief. In the desert, shade is life itself, the difference between comfort and danger. Animals learn the map of shadows across the land, following them as they shift, resting in their safety. Even humans are drawn to the shelter of shadow, building homes with porches, canopies, and curtains to soften the light. Shadows cradle us as much as they remind us of time. They are not only signs of passage, but gifts of rest. The science of shadow reaches even into the mysteries of light itself. When physicists study light as both wave and particle, they see patterns made by shadows. Two slits cut into a surface with light passing through create alternating bands of brightness and darkness on the wall behind. These dark bands are shadows not of objects, but of waves canceling one another, ripples of light folding together in silence. Even at the smallest scales, shadows appear. They reveal that light is playful, both particle and wave, both something that moves like matter and something that dances like sound. Shadows, in this way, are part of the secret language of the universe. On Earth, shadows stretch across mountains and seas, across forests and cities. Seen from the air, clouds throw vast blue shapes upon the ground, lakes shimmer with brightness while valleys hold dark pools. From space, astronauts describe the planet as a living canvas, painted with light and shadow in endless motion. Dawn sweeps across the surface like a tide, and with it comes a long, curved shadow, the line between night and day called the terminator. This shadow races around the globe at the speed of Earth's rotation, forever circling, forever drawing the passage of time upon the world. Every sunrise and every sunset is the brushstroke of this great shadow, endless and unbroken. Your own body too carries shadows. Light cannot pass through you entirely, and so you shape the glow around you. But within yourself there are shadows smaller still, shadows between cells, shadows where light is absorbed and cannot go further. The deepest parts of your brain live in darkness, hidden from the glow. Yet even here, shadow is not emptiness. It is protection, a quiet place where thought and memory can grow without disturbance. Without shadow, there could be no rest, no helter, no depth. Shadow allows life to breathe, to renew, to continue. And if shadows are companions of life, then they are also companions of death. In many traditions, shadows are symbols of what passes, of the souls that leave, of the memories that linger. When someone we love is gone, their shadow remains in us, not as darkness, but as outline, as shape. We remember their laughter, the way their hand moved, the way their presence filled a room. These memories are shadows of their time, carried forward in our minds. Shadows here are not endings, but continuations, the quiet traces of a life still echoing. The earth itself holds such shadows of what has lived before. Fossils are shadows in stone, the outline of bodies pressed into rock. They are records of ancient creatures who once walked, swam, or flew, now preserved in silhouette. In amber, the shadow of a leaf or an insect endures millions of years, glowing like a frozen memory. These are shadows not made by light, but by time itself, capturing form long after the living moment has passed. They remind us that shadow is another word for remembrance, another way the past refuses to vanish. Even the universe beyond holds its shadows. Black holes, those dense regions where gravity is so strong that light cannot escape, cast shadows upon the sky. When astronomers photographed one, they saw not the hole itself, but its silhouette, the outline made by light bent around its edge. It is perhaps the most profound shadow of all, the shadow of nothingness, the place where even time bends inward. And yet, even here, the shadow is a form of knowledge. It shows us where the light has been, where the story continues even when hidden. When you close your eyes, you meet another kind of shadow, the darkness behind your lids. But this darkness is not empty. It is filled with afterimages, with faint patterns, with sparks of memory. These are the shadows of vision, the remnants of light still echoing in your eyes. Close your eyes after looking at the sun and you see a burning circle. Close them after gazing at a bright lamp and you see its ghost. These inner shadows are the reminders that even in darkness, light has left its trace. The past remains soft and lingering. Perhaps that is the secret of shadows. They are the places where time becomes visible, where the present carries the shape of what is passing. They are not absence, but presence in another form. Without them, the world would be flat, harsh, and without rhythm. With them, the world has depth, softness, memory. They show us that time does not erase, it draws, it shapes, it outlines. Every shadow is a sketch of a moment, a record of where light once was, a testimony that the past still lives in form. So when you stand in sunlight, do not only look at the brightness. Look at the shadow stretching beside you. It is your companion, your twin mate of time. It is proof that you are here, that you are part of the great exchange between light and world, between past and present. Your shadow is the reminder that time leaves behind gentle traces and that you are never moving alone. At the quiet close of day, when the sun bends low and the light grows golden, shadows lengthen until they seem to touch the edges of the earth. They move slowly then, as if reluctant to let go, stretching across fields and roads, climbing walls, slipping into windows. You can feel the presence of time in their reach, the way each shadow grows with the evening, recording the last light of the day. These are not empty stretches of darkness. They are the soft handwriting of the world, spelling out the passage of hours in curves and lines. To watch a sunset is to watch shadows at their most tender. Mountains become vast silhouettes, their rugged faces softened into outlines against the glowing horizon. Trees become lacework against the sky, their leaves written in dark ink upon a canvas of fire. Even the smallest pebble casts a giant, elongated form when the sun is low. Shadows at dusk remind us that endings can be beautiful, that the approach of night is not an erasure but a transformation. The world is not disappearing. It is drawing itself in softer strokes, storing the day in the memory of shadow. In the night, shadows do not vanish. They shift, painted by the moon and the stars, by lamps and lanterns, by fires and glowing screens. They are quieter then, less defined, more mysterious. The moon's glow gives them edges that are silver rather than sharp. A candle flame turns them into dancers, flickering across the walls. In the starlight, they dissolve almost completely, yet they are still there, gentle companions of the faintest glows. Night shadows are like whispers, reminding us that even in darkness, time keeps painting softly, steadily, endlessly. If you have ever walked beneath a full moon, you know the strange intimacy of lunar shadows. The world looks both familiar and otherworldly, the outlines of trees stretching across the road. Add like companions from another realm. Your own body casts a pale shadow, lighter and fainter than the one the sun gives you, but still present, still tethering you to the light. Even at night, shadows remind you that you are part of the Earth's story, part of the ongoing dialogue between brightness and form. In dreams, too, there are shadows. They appear as fragments of memory, as shapes of things half remembered, as outlines of people long gone. Dreams are woven from both light and shadow, the mind's own theater where time plays itself again. When you wake, these dream shadows linger, fading quickly yet leaving impressions. They are reminders that even within yourself, the past is always near. That memory is another kind of shadow the mind carries gently forward. The universe holds its own great shadows, not only in black holes but in the spaces between stars. Interstellar clouds made of dust and gas block light from reaching us, creating dark lanes across the sky. When you look through a telescope at the Milky Way, you see not only bright rivers of stars, but also these dark shapes, as if someone had drawn ink across the page of the cosmos. These are shadows on a galactic scale, but even they are not empty. Within them, new stars are born, hidden from view until their light grows strong enough to pierce through. In the womb of shadow, life begins again. Every shadow, whether on the ground or in the sky, is a reminder that light has a path, and that path can be shaped. Time is like this too. It flows endlessly, but it is bent by the lives it touches. Each choice, each movement, each word is like a hand raised into the sun, casting a shadow that lingers long after the moment has passed. Our lives leave outlines, impressions on the world around us, stories written in the way others remember us. These are the shadows of our time, and they stretch outward even when we are gone. The ancient poets often spoke of shadows as souls, as echoes of the living. In some traditions, the underworld was called the land of shadows, not because it was empty, but because it held the imprints of lives that had passed. Shadows were not endings, but continuations, gentle forms left behind. And in truth, the physics of the universe agrees. Nothing is erased, nothing is lost. The shape of what once was continues to ripple outward, sometimes in light, sometimes in memory, sometimes in the quiet of a shadow. Perhaps this is why shadows bring a kind of comfort. To see your shadow is to know you are here, part of the world's unfolding. To see the shadows of trees, mountains, and clouds is to know the earth is alive, still turning, still moving in step with the sun. To notice shadows is to notice time, and to notice time is to feel yourself in the flow of something vast, patient, and eternal. Shadows are not interruptions. They are the evidence of connection, the proof that light has met form, that the present has been recorded, that the past is still close. As dawn comes, shadows retreat. They shrink into the feet of trees, into the corners of buildings, into the shapes of stones. They do not vanish, but they rest, waiting for the sun to rise again. Each morning the cycle begins anew, and with it the dance of light and shadow. The day cannot exist without both. Time cannot be seen without their conversation. In every hour, in every place, shadows are there, steady as breath, gentle as memory, patient as love. And so when you walk through your days, let your shadow remind you of more than light. Let it remind you of time's presence, of memory's persistence, of the way every moment leaves a trace. Shadows are teachers of softness, of endurance, of continuity. They whisper that what has been is never erased, only transformed, only carried in another form. You are part of this whisper. You are part of the shadow that time leaves behind. And in that knowledge you can rest, knowing that nothing is ever truly lost, not even the gentlest of days. The universe is never still. Even in the quietest night, when the air feels frozen and the stars seem fixed like jewels in black velvet, everything is moving. The planets trace their paths around the sun drifts through the spiral arm of the Milky Way, the galaxy itself sails in a sea of galaxies. Every stone, every breath, every speck of dust drifts forward on currents too vast to feel, and as it moves, the universe remembers. Motion is memory written in space, a record that the cosmos carries like a gentle pulse. Consider the earth beneath your feet. It turns with steady rhythm, once every 24 hours, carrying you from sunrise to sunset and back again. It orbits the sun, pulling you through the seasons, shaping your days with light and shadow. Yet these motions are not only cycles, they are memory made real. The tilt of the earth remembers the dance of collisions long ago when the planet was young. The spin remembers the momentum it was given at its birth, every turn Eve. Orbit is a continuation of forces that began before human thought existed. To live here is to ride on the memory of motions billions of years old. Your body too is caught in this web of remembrance. As the earth spins eastward, you move with it, faster than a jet. As the earth orbits the sun, you are carried around the star at immense speed. As the sun drifts around the galaxy, you are swept along in its wake. You may feel still when you sit quietly, but stillness is an illusion. You are always traveling, your past always stretching behind you, your future always waiting ahead. You are not separate from the universe's memory, you are part of it, a note in the ongoing song. Motion leaves traces, and the universe is filled with them. A comet that passes near the sun leaves a tail of gas and dust, like chalk drawn across the sky. A meteor that enters Earth's atmosphere leaves a glowing streak, a reminder of its brief passage. Rivers carve valleys, glaciers etch mountains, winds sculpt dunes. All of these are records of motion, stories that time has written on the surface of the world. Even the air around you holds such memory. Each breeze carries the warmth of the places it has passed, each gust shaped by landscapes you may never see. In every movement, the past is folded into the present. At the largest scale, galaxies themselves carry memory. They spin slowly, their spiral arms stretched by the gravity of countless stars. Within them, stars orbit in patterns set millions of years ago, their paths altered by encounters with other galaxies. When galaxies collide, they do not crash like stones. They weave into one another, their stars flung into long streams that stretch across space. These streams are memories of ancient meetings, fossils of motion written in starlight. Astronomers who look at them are not only studying stars, but reading the record of time, the long memory of the universe in motion. Even light itself is motion, a ripple traveling across emptiness. A beam leaving a star remembers where it came from, carrying the imprint of the fire that created it. When it bends around a planet or a galaxy, it remembers the pull of gravity it has felt. By the time it reaches your eyes, it has carried its history across space, a messenger bearing the story of a star, a galaxy, a universe in motion. When you look at light, you are looking at memory, stretched across the distances of time. Inside your own body, motion is also memory. Your heart beats because of signals that ripple through cells like waves across water. Your breath flows because air is drawn in and out, a rhythm as old as your first cry. Your thoughts move because electrical signals dance through your brain, each one carrying the memory of a sound, a word, a touch. These signals are not static, they are alive in motion, moving always forward, never pausing. Your mind is the memory of motion, written in delicate currents. There is a gentle comfort in this truth. If the universe remembers through motion, then nothing is ever entirely lost. The orbits of planets carry the memory of their beginnings. The tilt of Earth carries the memory of ancient impacts. The swirl of galaxies carries the memory of long-ago dances. And you in your heartbeat, in your breath, in the warmth of your skin, and the light in your eyes carry the memory of stars. Every movement is a story continuing, never erased, always flowing into what comes next. Now imagine standing at the edge of the sea. Waves roll in, one after another, each carrying the memory of winds far away. The tide rises and falls, remembering the pull of the moon, remembering the long embrace between Earth and its companion. The sea is never still, and in its ceaseless motion it remembers everything: storms, breezes, earthquakes beneath its floor, the shaping hand of gravity. To watch the sea is to watch the memory of the universe written in water, a reminder that motion is never empty, but always carrying, always keeping. Even silence is not without motion. In the stillness of a room, molecules of air are in constant dance, colliding, scattering, moving. Heat is the memory of this restless motion. The warmth you feel on your skin is not a substance, but a story of movement, atoms vibrating and sharing energy. Every surface, every breath, every touch is a trace of motion carried forward. What feels like calm is only balance, a balance of countless tiny dances, each one whispering of where it has been. And so the universe remembers itself not in stillness, but in motion. Galaxies drift, stars orbit, planets turn, waves roll, hearts beat, thoughts flow. Each motion carries the past forward, never ending, always unfolding. To live is to be part of this great memory, to move and be moved, to give your story to the ongoing song. You are not separate from the universe's remembrance. You are one of its verses, always carried, always remembered, always in motion. The universe is a vast library, but it's SH. Elves are not made of wood and paper. They are made of orbits, ripples, and patterns of motion that never fade completely. Every spin of a planet, every drift of a star, every slow turning of a galaxy is a page in this endless book. The memory of the cosmos is not still. It flows, it turns, it dances. To study motion is to read these pages, to discover how time has written its story across the sky. Consider the way rivers write their memory into the land. A river does not only carry water, it carries history. Each bend is shaped by centuries of flowing, each valley carved by the weight of countless streams. Even when a river dries or changes course, the land keeps its memory in valleys and canyons, in stones smoothed by water's touch. The earth remembers through motion, its very surface carved by time's patient hand. And when rain returns, the river picks up its song again, carrying the memory forward, linking past to present. The winds, too, are keepers of memory. They sweep across deserts, piling sand into dunes that drift and shift like sleeping giants. Each dune remembers the wind that shaped it, each ripple on its surface a record of direction and strength. Over centuries, the desert becomes a moving archive, a place where the air itself writes on the ground. And though dunes wander and reshape themselves, the story of wind is always present, a living record carried on in motion. Look upward and you see the same principle among the stars. The trails of comets are memories, icy bodies that return after long journeys, their tails glowing as they approach the sun. Their paths are reminders of the early solar system, of the collisions and creations that gave birth to planets. Some comets are older than the Earth itself, carrying with them the record of a time before life began. When one sweeps across the sky, it is not only a spectacle, it is a memory made visible, a traveler bringing the past into the present. The galaxies themselves are bound by memory. Their stars orbit around centers that hold immense mass, moving in patterns that reflect billions of years of gravity's pull. When astronomers map these motions, they are not only observing the present, they are tracing the history of galaxies, the story of their births, their mergers, their dances across space. The arcs of starlight that extend beyond a galaxy are tidal streams stretched out by past collisions. Each stream is a fossil of motion, proof that even when galaxies change, the memory of their meeting lingers. Light, the most delicate traveler, carries memory too. It is both wave and particle, both vibration and journey. When light leaves a star, it holds the memory of the star's temperature, its color, its energy. By the time it reaches us, it has been stretched by space, shifted toward red as the universe expands. This redshift is not only a measure of distance, it is a measure of memory. The farther the light has traveled, the longer it has carried its story, the more it has recorded the passage of time. To look at distant galaxies is to read their memoirs, written in beams of light that began their journey billions of years ago. Within your own body, the same truth unfolds in smaller ways. Blood flows through your veins, carrying oxygen, carrying nourishment, carrying memory of the heartbeat that pushed it forward. Each pulse is both present and past, the continuation of the rhythm that began long before you were born, when your ancestors' hearts beat with the same pattern. Your breath moves in and out, remembering the atmosphere that trees have built, remembering the cycle of air that has touched oceans, mountains, and skies. Even within yourself, motion is remembrance, each inhale and exhale part of the Earth's endless memory. And memory itself in the mind is made of motion. Neurons pass signals from one to another, tiny sparks leaping across gaps, currents of ions flowing. To recall a moment is to let motion happen again, to let the brain replay the path it once took. Forgetting is not emptiness, but the quieting of these motions, the fading of paths that are no longer traveled often. Even so, traces remain. Like faint trails in the desert, they can be stirred again, the memory rising once more like dust in wind. The mind, like the universe, remembers in movement. Time itself is measured by motion. The swing of a pendulum, the vibration of a crystal, the oscillation of light, these are how we build clocks. Without motion, there would be no way to know time's passing. Every second is counted by something that moves, whether it is an atom's vibration or the turn of a planet. The flow of time and the flow of motion are inseparable. To measure one is to measure the other. Time is memory unfolding in steps, and motion is its language. The oceans carry this truth as well. Tides rise and fall with the pull of the moon, each cycle remembering the bond between Earth and its companion. Currents swirl across the globe, driven by winds by T by the turning of the planet. These currents hold memory of seasons, of storms, of climate shifts across centuries. Deep beneath the surface, water moves slowly in currents that take centuries to complete a circuit, carrying memory of ancient days. To swim in the sea is to enter a story already long in motion, one that will continue long after you are gone. Even silence between stars is filled with memory in motion. Space itself expands, carrying galaxies away from one another. This expansion is not empty drift, it is the echo of the universe's birth still unfolding. The fact that galaxies move apart is the memory of that first great moment when everything began. It is as though the universe itself breathes outward, never forgetting its beginning, always carrying it forward in the movement of space and time. And within yourself, when you stand still, you are still moving. Atoms vibrate, molecules twist, energy flows. The warmth of your skin is the memory of countless motions beneath the surface. Even when you rest, your blood moves, your lungs rise and fall, your cells repair, your mind dreams. You are motion embodied, memory embodied. You are the universe remembering itself, not in stillness but in flow. So the next time you feel the wind on your face, or hear the rush of a river, or see the stars wheeling overhead, know that you are reading memory. The universe is always writing in motion, and you are always part of the story. Your own steps, your own breaths, your own thoughts are threads in this vast tapestry carried forward in time. Nothing is still, nothing is forgotten. Everything moves, and in moving, everything remembers. The universe does not keep its memory in books or in words. It keeps it in the flowing of rivers, the circling of planets, the pulsing of stars, the slow drift of galaxies across the darkness. Every movement is a sentence, every orbit a paragraph, every cycle a chapter. To look at the world closely is to read the language of motion, to see how time records itself in patterns too vast or too small for a single glance. In every direction you turn, memory is moving, alive, never still. Look at the oceans again. Each wave that rises carries with it the memory of winds that have blown across miles of water. The tide remembers the pull of the moon, faithful and exact, repeating its rhythm every day. Even the deep currents hidden far below remember ancient climates, storing the cold of centuries past as they move slowly through their hidden paths. When scientists measure the saltiness and the temperature of the deep sea, they are reading the ocean's diary, a memory written not in ink but in currents. Water remembers through its endless motion. The forests are also libraries of movement. Trees sway in wind, their branches bending with a memory of storms endured, their roots twisting around stones with the patience of centuries. Inside the wood, the rings tell stories of rainy years and dry years, of growth and waiting. But the memory of trees is not still. It flows in sap, in the rise of water from soil to leaf, in the breathing of oxygen into the sky. Every breath you take is part of this memory, a motion shared between you and the forest, between your lungs and the world's green lungs. You breathe the past and you breathe it forward. Rivers, forests, skies, all are local chapters. Beyond them lies the greatest memory of all, the galaxies. Each star you see is in orbit around something larger, a path traced not for years but for millions of years. The Milky Way spins, its spiral arms stretched like ribbons, each star a note in its song. When galaxies meet, they do not collide like stones. They pass through each other, their stars weaving together, their shapes distorted, their arms stretched. These stretched arms are tidal tales, streams of stars that are fossils of motion. They are the memory of cosmic embraces, preserved in orbits that will last for ages. Even the faint background of the universe is a form of memory. The cosmic microwave background is light that has been traveling since the universe was young. It has stretched and cooled, but it still carries the record of that first moment when the cosmos expanded into itself. When scientists measure it, they are listening to the heartbeat of the universe's infancy. It is proof that memory is never gone, only transformed, carried forward by the most delicate motions of energy and space. On smaller scales, memory flows inside you. The beating of your heart remembers the rhythm of life itself. The movement of your breath remembers the bond you share with plants and oceans. The signals in your brain remember faces, places, voices. They are not still images, they are patterns of motion, reawakened each time you recall them. Memory in the mind is living motion, not frozen. Each thought you revisit is a spark moving again, a current flowing again, a pathway relit in the darkness. You are made of these motions, and in them, th. Universe remembers itself through you. To imagine that nothing is lost is not wishful thinking, but a reflection of how the universe works. Energy moves, and in moving it keeps record. Even when it changes form, light becoming heat, motion becoming stillness, the trace remains. A stone warmed by the sun carries the memory of its rays. A room filled with music carries the memory in its vibrations. A face lit by laughter carries the memory in the light that escapes and continues its journey outward. Everywhere motion is remembrance, and remembrance is motion. Perhaps this is why we are comforted by cycles, the rising of the sun, the turning of seasons, the migration of birds. These motions remind us that memory is not only held but renewed, not only carried but given back. Each spring is both new and old, a fresh moment and a repetition of countless others. Each morning is both today and every morning that has ever been. In cycles, we see the universe breathing, and in that breath we feel our own lives carried along, part of something greater, something patient and unending. Even silence is filled with this. Sit in a still room, and though you think nothing is moving, the air is full of vibrations too soft to hear. The molecules are in endless motion, your heart continues to beat, your breath continues to flow. Stillness is an illusion, motion is everywhere. And so memory is everywhere too. It does not need words. It is the quiet presence of all that has moved, all that is moving, all that will move. The universe's memory is not only vast, it is tender. It keeps not only galaxies, but also your smallest gestures. A word spoken, a step taken, a glance shared, each becomes part of the great motion, part of the flow that carries everything forward. The light that left your face years ago is still traveling. The warmth you gave to another person still lingers in their memory. The kindness you offered still ripples, passed from one to another, as surely as rivers carry the memory of mountains. You are remembered, not only in hearts, but in the very motion of the world. And so, when you look at the night sky, you are not looking at emptiness. You are looking at the memory of the universe, still alive, still traveling. Each star is a witness to motion, each galaxy a keeper of history, each beam of light a messenger of what has been. The universe does not forget, it does not erase. It carries everything, always forward, always into the future. To live is to be written into this memory, to become part of the endless story that moves across space and time. When you close your eyes tonight, remember this. Your breath, your heartbeat, your smallest movements are part of the same memory that carries the stars. You are not outside of it. You are woven into it, a verse in the poem of the universe, a motion in the music of time. And though your moments feel brief, they are not gone. They are carried onward into the deep memory of the cosmos, where nothing is lost and everything is remembered in motion. Gravity is the soft hand that never lets go. It is the quiet pull that holds oceans in their basins, moons in their paths, stars in their spirals. We do not see it, yet we feel it with every step, every fall, every lift of the chest as we breathe against the earth. Gravity is yesterday's promise still alive today, a memory written into space itself. It is the reason you wake in the same bed where you slept, the reason rivers flow downward, the reason stars gather into galaxies. Without it, the universe would be a scattering of dust with no story, no shape, no song. Imagine standing in a meadow as morning breaks. The dew glitters because light bends on droplets, and those droplets rest on blades of grass only because gravity holds them there. Your own body stands tall only because your feet press against the ground pressing back with equal patience. This exchange is gravity's language, pull and response, presence and return. It is not harsh or loud. It is steady, loyal, invisible, yet undeniable. Every tree, every stone, every breath participates in this ancient conversation. Long before you were born, before Earth was shaped into the world you know, gravity was at work. Clouds of gas gathered under its pull, squeezing tighter until stars were born in fire. Those stars lived, burned, and died, their remains pulled again by gravity into new stars, new planets, new beginnings. Your bones, your blood, the iron in your cells, all were forged in those ancient stars, brought together again by gravity's quiet hand. You are not only held by gravity, you are here because of it. You are the gentle memory of its endless work. Think of the moon. It circles us endlessly, not by strings or ropes, but by gravity's patient embrace. Its pull lifts oceans into tides, raising water that later falls again, shaping coastlines, feeding rhythms into the lives of fish, birds, and people. Every tide is yesterday's gravity still echoing. Today, a memory that never fades. To stand on the shore and watch the water rise and fall is to watch gravity write poetry, each wave a line, each retreat a pause. The ocean listens, and so do we, for we too are bodies bound in orbit, swayed by the same unseen hand. Beyond the Earth, planets turn in their orbits because they remember the sun's pull. They are not leashed, not forced, but guided. Each orbit is a balance between moving forward and falling inward. The dance is precise yet graceful, an endless waltz choreographed by gravity. This dance is ancient. For billions of years, Earth has circled the sun, never too close, never too far, carrying with it the seasons, the weather, the turning of time. All of this is the memory of yesterday's gravity, the steady pull that has never allowed the dance to stop. Galaxies themselves are shaped by gravity's patience. Stars swirl into spirals, drawn together by the combined pull of countless suns. Great clouds of unseen matter, what scientists call dark matter, add their weight, their invisible hand shaping the paths of galaxies. Without this hidden pull, the stars would scatter into emptiness. Instead, they hold together, great whirlpools of light spinning for billions of years. Gravity is the glue of the cosmos, the keeper of memory, the force that carries yesterday into today and today into tomorrow. You can feel gravity in small ways too. Drop a stone into a pond and it falls, but in its falling it remembers the Earth's call. The ripples that spread outward remember the impact, telling the pond what has just happened. When you leap, your body rises for a breath, then returns. Each step you take is in agreement with gravity. You press down and it holds you close. Even the simplest acts, pouring tea, placing a book on a table, holding a child, are part of this memory. Gravity is the reason actions settle, the reason moments have weight. In the vastness of space, gravity bends not only bodies but light itself. When a star's glow passes near a massive object, gravity curves its path, pulling it like a river bends around a stone. We call this gravitational lensing, but it is also a kind of memory. The light tells us what it passed, how strong the pull was, how much space itself has been curved. By reading this light, astronomers can see galaxies too distant to view directly. Gravity preserves their image, carrying yesterday's starlight into our eyes today. Black holes are the deepest memory of gravity. They are places where the pull is so strong that nothing escapes, not even light, yet even they do not erase completely. At their edges, matter whirls, glowing with energy before it vanishes. These bright disks are records of what has been consumed, last moments painted in fire before silence. And some scientists believe that black holes keep the information of everything they swallow, hidden but not lost. If true, then even in the most secret corners, gravity is still a keeper of memory, refusing to let the past dissolve entirely. Your own heart responds to gravity as well. Blood falls and rises with every beat, flowing more easily downward, resisting upward, every vessel and valve shaped by the pull. Your balance, your step, your sense of uprightness, all are guided by the memory of gravity. Babies learn to walk by listening to it, swaying until they find harmony with the invisible hand. Dancers leap and return, trusting that gravity will not forget them, that the fall will be as certain as the rise. Even joy is shaped by it, for joy often feels like lightness, a brief defiance of the pull before returning gratefully to the ground. When you look at the night sky, every star you see is there because gravity held it together. Without gravity, the gases would not have gathered, the fire would not have started, the light would not have been born. And when you see the arcs of galaxies, the clusters of stars, the streams of comets, you are seeing the artistry of gravity, the gentle hand that remembers and shapes. The universe is not chaos, it is held, it is guided, it is sculpted by a memory that never fades. And so gravity is more than force, it is connection. It is the thread that ties you to the earth to the sun to the galaxy to the universe. It is yesterday and today joined, not in words but in weight, not in memory but in presence. To stand here is to feel its embrace. To move here is to follow its guidance. You are never without it. You are always remembered by it, carried by it, shaped by it. Gravity is the gentle gravity of yesterday, still alive, still holding, still whispering through the vastness of space and time. Gravity is not loud. It does not crash like thunder or blaze like fire. It speaks in whispers, in the steady pull that guides rivers down slopes, in the way apples fall from branches, in the way your feet stay pressed to the ground. Its power is quiet, but it shapes everything. Without it, stars would scat. Our planets would drift away, and life itself would never find a place to stand. Gravity is the soft memory that never loosens its hold, carrying yesterday into today with patience deeper than time. Think of the tides again. Twice each day, oceans swell and fall under the moon's pull. Fish follow these rhythms, birds nest by them, human calendars remember them. Sailors once watched tides as guides, their ships moving only when the water lifted. Farmers planted by them, poets wrote of them, lovers walked in the foam where tides kissed the shore. All of this is gravity's memory, written in waves, linking the past to the present in endless cycles. When you hear the hush of surf, you are hearing gravity's steady breath. The earth itself carries marks of gravity's long work. Mountains rise where tectonic plates push upward, but gravity resists, wearing them down with rain, with rivers, with wind. Valleys are carved, cliffs collapse, rocks tumble. The shape of every hill and hollow is the balance between upward force and gravity's patient pull downward. Landscapes are memory written in stone and soil, telling stories of collisions, eruptions, and erosion, all shaped by the steady weight of gravity. Beyond Earth, motion in the heavens follows the same law. The moon circles us because of Earth's pull. Earth circles the sun because of the sun's pull. The sun itself is bound in orbit around the center of the galaxy. Each path is not new, but a memory repeated endlessly, like a refrain in a song. Planets keep to their orbits with perfect faith because gravity holds their history. The very seasons you live through, spring, summer, autumn, winter, are memory shaped by gravity's guidance, returning again and again like footsteps around a circle. Gravity reaches further still, Whole galaxies gather in clusters, held together by unseen hands of dark matter. Though we cannot see this dark matter, we see its work. Galaxies bent inward, their motions faster than visible matter can explain. It is as though gravity remembers more than our eyes can, holding secrets in invisible threads. The universe is woven together by these threads, each one pulling gently, silently, eternally. Scientists read these motions like historians reading ancient letters, piecing together what gravity remembers that we cannot see. Even the bending of light is part of this story. When light passes near a star or galaxy, its path curves, drawn into arcs by gravity. Astronomers call this lensing, but it is also a kind of memory. The curved light remembers the mass it passed, remembers the pull it felt, remembers the shape of space bent around it. Through these curved paths, we glimpse galaxies too far to see directly. Gravity becomes a mirror, showing us the past carried forward in beams of light, yesterday's glow arriving today through the patient work of invisible hands. Black holes are the deepest shadows of gravity's memory. They are not emptiness but fullness beyond measure, where mass is so dense that space itself folds inward. Nothing escapes their pull, not even light. Yet even here, gravity does not erase. The matter that swirls before falling in glows with fierce brightness, telling us what has been consumed. The edges of black holes are boundaries where memory gathers, horizons where the past is held so tightly it cannot return. Some believe information itself is stored there, hidden but never lost, preserved in the very fabric of the cosmos. Your body is shaped by gravity in quiet ways. Your muscles strengthen against its pull, your bones grow dense because of it, your balance depends on it. Astronauts in space, where gravity is faint, feel their bodies change, muscles weaken, bones lose weight, fluids shift. They learn how much gravity has been holding them all along. Here on Earth, you may forget it, but every heartbeat, every step, every breath is shaped by its embrace. Even sleep is guided by gravity, as your body rests pressed into the earth, remembering the pull that never ceases. Gravity also connects us to one another in more ways than we realize. The same pull that holds oceans and mountains also holds you, gently tugging at your neighbor, your home, your world. Though the force between small objects is faint, it is real. You are pulled toward the mountains, toward the seas, toward every person you have ever met. The universe is a net of gentle attractions, each body calling to every other. To exist is to be part of this vast embrace, to be woven into gravity's quiet memory. If you think of love as a kind of gravity, the metaphor is not far from truth. Love pulls, holds, draws together, keeps close. It is unseen yet undeniable. It shapes lives as surely as gravity shapes worlds. The memory of love is like the memory of gravity. It does not vanish, it does not loosen. It lingers, shaping paths long after the moment has passed. To be loved is to be held, and to love is to hold, both reflections of the same cosmic principle that gave learns stars and hearts alike. And so gravity is more than a force. It is the universe's memory of togetherness. It reminds matter to gather, light to bend, oceans to rise and fall, people to remain close. It is the gentle weight that tells you where you belong, the unseen embrace that whispers you are never alone. Each step you take, each tide that turns, each star that burns is gravity carrying yesterday into today. It is the thread that connects all moments, all places, all beings in one vast, unbroken continuum. At dawn, when the first light brushes the horizon, gravity is already awake, already at work. It holds oceans in their bowls, mountains rooted in their foundations, clouds stretched across the sky. You rise from your bed and feel its hand on you, steady and patient, guiding your steps, keeping you tethered to the earth. You do not notice it most of the time, and yet it never leaves you. Gravity is the memory of yesterday carried into this new day, the same pull that cradled your ancestors and will cradle your children. It is the continuity of existence, a thread woven through every generation. When you walk through fields or along city streets, gravity writes your path. Each step presses into the ground, leaving impressions, however faint, that mark your passing. Raindrops fall because of it, gathering into puddles and rivers, and those rivers flow downward into seas. Birds take flight only to return, their wings working against gravity but never escaping its embrace. Even the smallest insect, the drifting seed, the dust carried by wind, all are balanced by gravity's hand. The world is a theater of motion, and gravity is both stage and script, shaping every gesture. The pull you feel on Earth is only part of its story. Gravity extends far beyond, stretching invisibly into space, holding the moon in orbit, guiding satellites as they circle above. Each orbit is a memory of motion preserved by gravity, a balance between falling and moving forward. Without it, the moon would drift into darkness, satellites would fly away, Earth itself would wander from the sun. Instead, they remain, faithful to the paths gravity remembers for them. These paths are ancient, older than humanity, and they will endure long after our time has passed. Gravity also keeps time in its own way. The Earth spins slows ever so slightly because the moon pulls on our oceans, creating tides. This drag stretches days across millennia, a record of gravity's work written into the rhythm of time itself. Scientists measure this, seeing in ancient rocks and corals the evidence of shorter days long ago. The past is remembered not in words but in cycles, in lengths of days, in the footprints of tides across the centuries. Gravity is the keeper of these records, the patient scribe of time. The sun, too, is a servant of gravity. Its fire burns because gravity holds its gases together, squeezing them so tightly that fusion begins. The light and warmth that sustain life are born from this invisible embrace. Without gravity, the sun would not shine, and without the sun, Earth would be a frozen, empty place. The very fact that you feel warmth on your skin is a testimony to gravity's memory of gathering gas, of igniting fire, of sustaining the balance that makes stars live. Every beam of sunlight is gravity's gift, a continuation of yesterday into today. In the deep sky, galaxies move under the pull of one another. Some are drawn together, colliding over spans of millions of years. When they meet, their stars swirl into new shapes, long tails of light stretching across space. These shapes are fossils of motion, preserved by gravity's endless work. They are reminders that nothing drifts forever alone. Every body in the universe is connected, each path influenced by another. Even emptiness is full of threads, invisible but real, stretching from galaxy to galaxy, binding them into a cosmic web. Gravity is the loom on which this web is woven. There are mysteries still hidden in this fabric. Dark matter, unseen but present, outweighs the stars we can see. It reveals itself only through gravity, through the way galaxies spin faster than their visible mass allows. In this hidden matter lies another memory, one we do not yet understand fully, but gravity remembers it. Gravity responds to it, shaping galaxies into forms that could not exist without its secret weight. Even in ignorance, we can feel the memory of forces we cannot yet name. Gravity teaches us that memory exists even beyond our knowing. Black holes are the most profound testimony of gravity's memory. They are places where matter collapses so completely that space and time themselves bend inward. From their edges, light cannot escape, and so we see their silhouettes against glowing gas. These shadows are not absence but presence, gravity's deepest form of remembrance. They are the archives of stars that once were, the libraries of matter that has fallen inward, the keepers of secrets we may never fully read. Yet even here, some believe that information is not destroyed but preserved, hidden in the structure of space itself. Gravity does not forget, even in its darkest forms. And what of you? You are held by gravity, but you are also made by it. The atoms in your body were drawn together in clouds that collapsed under its pull. Your shape is defined by the balance between bones and the weight they carry, muscles and the pull they resist. Your sense of balance, your ability to walk, your very growth, all are conversations with gravity. You are the child of stars, but also the child of gravity, shaped and guided by its memory. When you lift a hand, you work against gravity. When you let it fall, gravity remembers it and returns it to its place. When you jump, you feel a moment of freedom, but gravity's call brings you back. These simple acts are the poetry of existence, reminders that you are never untethered, never forgotten. Gravity's hand is always there, steady, gentle, loyal. It is a comfort, like a parent's hand guiding a child, like a friend's presence at your side. At twilight, as shadows stretch and night gathers, gravity continues its patient work. The moon rises, drawn upward by Earth's rotation, yet held close by gravity's bond. Stars appear, their light bent across galaxies, their positions guided by invisible threads. You breathe, you walk, you lie down to rest, all while gravity holds you. It is not a force that comes and goes. It is always present, always remembering, always carrying yesterday into today. It is the gentle gravity of yesterday, holding the universe in its arms, never letting go. And so when you think of gravity, think not only of falling or of weight. Think of memory, of connection, of the soft persistence that binds the cosmos together. Gravity is not only science but also story, the story of how matter gathers, how stars ignite, how worlds endure, how you are held. It is the quiet assurance that nothing is ever lost, that everything remains part of the whole, that yesterday is still with us, drawn into today by an invisible embrace. In the silence of night, feel its presence and know that you are part of its eternal memory. Time feels like water, always flowing, always slipping past our hands no matter how tightly we try to hold it. Each moment is a drop in a river too wide to measure, yet every drop carries meaning. To live is to drift upon this river, to feel the current move beneath you, to know that you are being carried from one shore to another. Time does not stop. It does not wait, yet it does not erase either. Each moment joins the stream, and together they form the endless river where all moments drift. Stand by the bank of a real river and you will see the likeness. The water that passes before you is never the same twice. It changes with each breath, each heartbeat, flowing forward to places unseen. Yet the river remains, always here, always singing. Time is like this too. Every moment you live flows away, yet the river of time remains steady, patient, eternal. What you see is only the surface, but beneath it lies a current carrying the memory of everything that has ever passed. The earth itself is shaped by this river. Rocks are worn down grain by grain, valleys carved, mountains softened. These changes are slow, yet they are constant, written by the hand of time. Fossils buried in stone are memories preserved, whispers of creatures who lived in ages long gone. Ice sheets hold air from thousands of years ago, bubbles that tell us what the sky once was. The river of time flows not only through our lives, but through the bones of the earth itself, carrying traces of every yesterday. In the night sky, stars are also swept along by this current. Some are newborn, flickering with the first light of fusion. Others are old, their glow fading, their fuel nearly spent. Each star tells a story of time, of birth, of growth, of decline. Galaxies drift apart as the universe expands, each carried by the river that began at the very dawn of everything. Even light itself is a passenger, traveling outward, stretched and softened as space expands. To look at the heavens is to see the endless river made visible in beams of light. Your own body is part of this current. Cells are born live and die in steady rhythm. Skin renews itself, bones replace themselves, thoughts shift and reshape. You are not the same person you were yesterday, yet you are still yourself, still carried along by the flow. Your heartbeat is a metronome of time, your breath a tide that rises and falls. Memory is the way you feel the river behind you, imagination the way you glimpse the river ahead. You are a traveler, and time is both the boat and the water, carrying you without pause. Time also connects us. The words you speak ripple outward, joining the flow of another's life. The kindness you show becomes part of their river, carried forward in ways you cannot see, even the smallest. Action joins the current, a pebble dropped into water that makes circles far from where it fell. The river of time does not belong to you alone. It is shared, joining lives together, weaving them into a single stream that runs toward the horizon of tomorrow. Sometimes the river feels fast, rushing like a spring flood, carrying you so quickly you can hardly breathe. Other times it feels slow, meandering like a lazy summer stream. But whether fast or slow, it never stops. Children grow, seasons change, memories fade into distance. Yet even as moments pass, they are not destroyed. They are carried onward, folded into the current, part of the river's song. To remember is to cup your hands in the flow and taste again what has already drifted past. There are eddies too, places where the current circles back. In dreams, in memory, in déjà vu, you feel the river loop upon itself, carrying you to familiar shores. These are gentle reminders that the past is not gone, only flowing in ways you cannot always follow. Sometimes a scent, a sound, a face will pull you suddenly backward, and you are again a child or a traveler or a dreamer you thought you had forgotten. The river has carried that moment far, but its waters are wide enough to return it to you. Science sees the river in every measure of time. The swing of a pendulum, the vibration of atoms, the orbit of planets, these are the ways we keep track of its flow. Clocks are our way of dipping cups into the water, measuring its rhythm. Yet the river itself does not need our counting. It flows whether we watch or not, whether we name the hours or not. Time is larger than our clocks, older than our calendars, deeper than our words. It is the river in which all things move, whether they know it or not. And so when you think of time, do not think of it as something you lose. Think of it as something you give to the river, something carried forward, never wasted. Every smile, every touch, every breath becomes part of the endless stream. The river holds them all, carrying them gently toward the sea of eternity. You are not apart from this river. You are inside it, part of its flow, drifting with all the lives that have ever been, all the moments that have ever existed. The river remembers, and it never ends. The endless river of time does not flow only in one direction that you can easily see. It curves, it bends, it meanders through landscapes of memory and imagination. Each moment you live is carried downstream, but echoes of it drift back toward you, soft as ripples that brush against the shore. When you remember, you are not pulling something out of the past, but stepping once more into the current where that moment still drifts. Memory is the way you dip your hand into the water and feel the shape of yesterday as it flows by. Watch how rivers shape the land, and you will see how time shapes life. Water wears down stone, smoothing rough edges into curves. In the same way, time softens the sharpness of pain, blurs the clarity of joy, and transforms all things into gentler forms. A canyon is the memory of countless days of flowing water, just as the lines on a face are the memory of countless days of laughter, sorrow, and thought. Neither is sudden, neither is accidental. Both are patient works of the river, carving slowly but surely, never ceasing. The earth itself carries the record of time's flow. Layer upon layer of rock tells the story of ancient seas, long-gone forests, and creatures that no longer walk the ground. Each layer is a page in the Earth's diary, written in sediment and stone. Scientists read these layers as though they are chapters, piecing together the tale of life and change. Yet even without knowing the words, you can sense it. Cliffs that rise above you, valleys that stretch before you, mountains that bear the weight of millennia. These are monuments of time, carved by the river that never rests. In the sky, stars also mark the river's passage. They are born from clouds of gas, burn brightly for millions or billions of years, and then fade into silence or explode in brilliance. Their light travels outward, carrying the story of their lives into the cosmos. By the time it reaches us, it is already part of history, a memory of what once was. Looking at starlight is like seeing reflections in the water. You are not seeing the star as it is now, but as it once was, drifting toward you on the current of time. And yet, even as stars die, their matter returns to the flow. Atoms forged in their hearts scatter into space, later drawn into new stars, new planets, new lives. In this way, nothing is lost to the river. Everything is transformed, carried forward, reshaped into new forms. Your very body is proof of this. The carbon, oxygen, iron, and calcium in your bones and blood once flowed through stars. You are a living eddy in the river of time, where the past has gathered itself into the present and will one day flow on into the future. Your mem. Oris too are shaped like rivers. They branch, they converge, they fade into mist, they deepen into pools. Some are clear, easy to return to. Others are murky, half forgotten, their outlines blurred. But even the faintest memory is still there, still part of the current. When a sound or scent calls it back, it is like a hidden stream rejoining the river, suddenly alive again, suddenly flowing where you thought it had vanished. Your mind is not a library of still images. It is a riverbed where currents shift, carrying the past in endless patterns. In your life, time does not move evenly. Some days rush forward like rapids, full of noise and speed, leaving you breathless. Others crawl like slow meanders, circling lazily, carrying you with gentle patience. Yet both are part of the same river. The fast does not erase the slow, and the slow does not prevent the fast. Together they make the journey, together they shape the land of your life. The river cannot always be swift, nor can it always be still. Its beauty lies in its change, in the variety of ways it carries you forward. Even silence is filled with the river. Sit in stillness, and though you may feel that time has stopped, the river continues to move. Your heart beats, your breath flows, the earth spins, the stars drift. Stillness is only the illusion of a slow current when you cannot easily feel. Beneath it, the waters flow on, carrying you whether or not you notice. This is the quiet gift of time. You do not have to move it, you do not have to guide it. It carries you always, without demand, without pause. There are places where rivers split, and so it feels with time. Choices create branches, moments where the current could have carried you one way or another. You live the branch you chose, but the others remain in imagination, drifting like unseen tributaries. Memory sometimes visits these places, wondering what might have been, what might have flowed differently. But all rivers in the end return to the sea. All choices, all paths, all branches are part of the same great river, feeding the same vast eternity. Science measures the flow of time with precision, using clocks, vibrations, orbits. But beneath this precision is something more poetic. Time is the measure of change, and change is the movement of the river. Without change, time would not exist, and without time there would be no river. You see this in the smallest things: a candle burning, a leaf falling, a face smiling, a wave breaking. Each is a mark of the current, a sign that the river flows on. Each is part of the memory of all that has ever been. And so, when you think of time, do not fear its passing. It is not a thief. It does not take your moments away. It carries them gently, faithfully into the endless river. Your childhood is still there, drifting in the current. Your joys, your sorrows, your laughter, your tears, they are all part of the flow, moving forward, joining with every other drop of existence. You are not losing time. You are giving it to the river, and the river remembers. Always it remembers. The river of time never pauses, yet it is never hurried. It flows with a patience deeper than oceans, carrying each moment as though it were precious, never letting any drop be lost. You are part of this river, a traveler upon its surface, a ripple in its current. Each breath you take, each step you make joins the flow. And though you may feel the current slipping quickly through your fingers, remember that every drop is still within the river, carried onward into eternity. At the end of a day, when you look back, you may feel as though time has slipped away, impossible to recover. But think of rivers again. The water that passes by does not vanish. It continues, flowing into lakes, seas, and oceans, joining with other waters, evaporating into clouds, returning as rain. Time is the same. Moments leave you, but they do not disappear. They change, they join with others, they return in memory, in echoes, in the lives they have touched. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is truly gone. Memories are the way we walk beside the river, even after it has carried moments far downstream. When you remember, you step again into the flow of that time, feeling its presence as though it were still here. A laugh once shared still lingers in your heart. A song once heard still drifts in your thoughts. These are not illusions. They are the river's way of showing you that it remembers everything. The past still moves, soft and unseen, carrying its music into the present. The river also teaches us about letting go. To hold water in your hands is to know that it cannot be held forever. It slips between your fingers, yet in slipping it joins the larger flow, becoming part of something greater. Life's moments are like this too. We cannot hold them tightly forever, but in releasing them, we allow them to continue, to join the endless stream of existence. To live is to trust that the river carries all things gently, even when we cannot see where they go. Night after night, the stars remind us of this truth. Their light has traveled for years, centuries, or millennia, crossing unimaginable distances. That light is still part of the river of time, still moving, still shining. When it enters your eyes, you become part of its journey. You carry its memory forward, and in doing so, you join the story of the universe itself. The starlight you see tonight is yesterday still drifting, proof that time's river holds all things. The same is true of your own presence. Every word you speak, every kindness you give, every gesture you make flows outward. It may travel further than you imagine, carried in another's memory, shaping their choices, touching lives beyond your reach. You may not see where it goes, but like water, it continues, joining with other streams. Your life is not isolated. It is part of the great current, inseparable from the whole. You are both giver and receiver, both drop and river. Even sorrow belongs to the river. Tears fall like rain, joining the stream. Grief feels heavy, but even it is carried forward, softened by time's flow, transformed into memory, into wisdom, into love that endures. The river does not erase your sorrow, it carries it gently, allowing it to change to find its place within the larger song. In this way, the river teaches us that nothing we feel is wasted, that every experience has a place in the current of life. Science, too, affirms this continuity. Energy is never destroyed. It only changes form, moving from one place to another, from one state to another. The warmth of a fire becomes air, the light of a star becomes your vision, the motion of a wave becomes sound in your ear. Time's river is this transformation, this constant movement of energy and matter carrying all things onward. The laws of the universe are simply the rules of the river, the ways in which it remembers everything. To stand on the shore of a river is to feel small yet comforted. The water has flowed long before you and will flow long after you, so it is with time. Your moments join those of countless others, flowing into the vast current of existence. You are not separate, not forgotten. You are carried always in the river that holds all things. Even when you can no longer see a moment, it is still there, drifting with the rest, part of the eternal stream. And so when you feel time slipping, do not mourn. Instead, imagine the river. Imagine your moments floating upon it, shining softly, never lost. Imagine yourself as part of its flow, moving with the stars, with the earth, with every life that has ever been. The river is endless. It carries all things. It carries you. And in its gentle current, everything you have ever known, everything you have ever loved, continues to drift, forever remembered, forever alive in the endless river of time.